What's going on, boys and girls? My name is Michael SK and welcome back to the Labyrinth of Grisaia. So, last time we met Millie, who I can't really tell if she's just a better person than Meikyuu or actually worse, but they seem similar in a way, and that's why I'm kind of bringing in Meikyuu here. But we got to meet her. Yuuji had a quote-unquote duel. He won, obviously. I mean, is there really any doubt? So now I guess the first term is over, the first 6 months or whatever, and now they're out on a ship, I believe, and that's all I know. Oh, wait a minute. No, Yuuji is apparently an instructor now, or something like that. I don't know. I think he's just telling a story. I'm not really sure. I kind of lost track of where we were in the last episode, but we'll jump in here. Cocoon of Caprice 11. I remember we're 66% done with this route. We are actually coming to a close here, which is insane. We are just blasting through this. Also, I have a nice can of Pepsi here, and I decided to wait until right now to open it so you guys can hear it, and hopefully I didn't get that anywhere, but yeah, now that I opened it, I actually don't want to take a drink out of it, so that's great. But anyways, let's get back into the memes. I mean, into Grisaia. So, the man I was instructing today, one Edward Walker, finally, a name that I can just easily pronounce, fell solidly into this category. I don't know what the category was, just, I guess I kind of left off in the middle of context, my bad. He was the oversized second son of a farm family. Rumor had it he'd been tossed into the military so he'd stop eating them out of the house and home. You'd never think he was a teenager from the sheer bulk of his body. He's a teenager? He's got hella sideburns, dude. Thanks to his size and overall sluggishness, his squad mates had given him the unflattering nickname Buffalo Eddie. No worries, guys. I got a drink of that out of that shit just now, so we good. No worries. Yeah, sure, have at it. I didn't even read that. Fuck my life. Sorry, guys. I'm the sluggish one here.
Yes, sir.
We were the exact same rank, so the guy really shouldn't have been calling me sir. A hot-tempered instructor probably would have assumed he was being sarcastic and given him an educational smack to the face. At a glance, Walker looked like a gentle-hearted country boy, the kind who doesn't have much going for him apart from his physical strength. That said, I had a bit of a soft spot for this particular buffalo of a man. He wasn't the talkative sort. In fact, he was downright taciturn? Whatever. But from what I'd seen in his file, his father had died from an illness and his mother had been struggling to manage the family farm on her own. The stress had recently caused her to fall into poor health. Eddie did have an older brother who apparently worked in banking, but the man was divorced and had significant child support obligations, so he couldn't provide much help. Accordingly, Walker had signed up for the Navy, hoping that his physical health would compensate for his stupidity. Not really that unusual of a story. Normally, I might have muttered, that's rough, and forgotten all about it by the time I finished picking my nose. However, Edward Walker was actually somewhat famous among the instructors. He was known for his remarkably terrible results, of course, but they also said he never used his rubber stamp at the post exchange after entering the Navy. Not even once. Whatever he needed he obtained by bartering away his supply of cigarettes. He hadn't spent a dime of the salary provided to him by the military. He didn't leave the base on off days either. The man was apparently sending every cent of his military salary home to his mother. Now that's the sort of thing that really brings a tear to your eye, right? Good job, Eddie. That's the way. You've got to take care of your mother while she's still around, or you'll definitely regret it in the long run. I couldn't do a thing for mine, and in the end, she died before my eyes. Those regrets probably had something to do with it, but one way or another, I couldn't help seeing Eddie Walker as a really good guy. And he's just a straight up respectful man. Like, he is calling us instructor and everything. He's being like, I really don't know how to explain it, but outright, I guess you could say. Okay, let's see. I peered into my spotting scope, fixed on a tripod to point at the target downrange. I took a good long look at the target paper, but there weren't any bullet holes to be seen. I couldn't even see any signs he grazed it. No points. Looks like you didn't land any. As I murmured these words, Walker's huge shoulders visibly sagged.
やっぱりダメでありますか。
Hey man, not all of us could fire a gun and have it actually hit something. I don't think there's any reason to get depressed about it. You're still in your first term, and experience is everything when it comes to guns. The more shots you take, the better you'll get.
そうも言っとれんのです。
What? What do you mean?
自分は学科もギリギリで合格した口で、先月の試験で落第点を取りました。これ以上落第をすれば、自分は田舎に返されます。
Oh shit. That's probably not true. As a general rule, militaries are easy to join but hard to leave. Once you're in, they're not going to fire you at the drop of a hat. That said, failure in training has a huge effect on your career prospects. Old classmates will move up quickly through the ranks, jumping to NCO or even staff NCO. But if you failed early on, you'll usually languish lower on the totem pole. Eventually, you'll find yourself being outstripped by people who enlisted years later than you. There's few things more humiliating than working under an officer who you bossed around when they were still a fresh recruit.
自分は今日のこの補習で合格点を取らなければまた落第であります。
I glanced down at Walker's report card. A number of red marks indicated failures in swimming, academics, and... Wait, you failed hand-to-hand combat as well?
自分は争い事などめったに起きない土地で牛と育った田舎者であります。兄もどちらかといえば勉強の虫で、自分は兄弟喧嘩もしたことがありません。
Wow. Who would have guessed? Ah, I see. Before you get used to it, hitting people can sometimes be more painful than being hit. The man was just too kind. This might be a little rich coming from a coward who couldn't bring himself to kill, but it seemed like making Edward Walker into a full-fledged Marine was going to take quite a bit of time. I guess it would be pretty bad to pick up any more failing grades at this point, huh? Anyway, is it really giving you that much trouble? Maybe the gun's bad. Let me take a look.
あ、どうぞ。
The rifle I took from Eddie appeared to be perfectly typical perfectly typical M40A1 of the sort new recruits were always given. It was visibly beaten up from years of heavy usage, but the barrel and a few other parts had been replaced. Training rifles were usually total junk. Relatively speaking, this one seemed solid enough. If he couldn't land a single shot using this thing, the problem was clearly on Eddie's end. Promptly pulling back the bolt handle, I pushed a round into the rifle's chamber and assumed an upright firing position. I'm gonna try it out, alright? The gun itself wasn't half bad. No real quirks or peculiarities. I can't even say peculiar right. Even so, I just did. You could tell it had been thoroughly trained by generations of riflemen. There weren't any unpleasant catches in the action, and the bullets flew into the target with satisfying accuracy. It was a genuinely refreshing feeling. Hey, looks like it's not so bad. Excuse me, take a look in the scope, why don't you?
Oh, hi.
Curling up his huge body to look into the spotting scope, Eddie peered at the distant target paper. The 3 shots I'd fired off were scattered carelessly around the outer edge of the bullseye circle.
Well,
that's why they landed all over the place. If I'd gone prone and focused, they would have all ended up going dead center. Jesus Christ.
さすがであります教員殿。やはりバッジ持ちは伊達ではないであります。
Hey man, what can I say? Not really. This is the only thing I'm good at, you know.
そうなのでありますか。
If I had any other skills, I'd be in a different line of work. Maybe running a coffee shop or something.
はあ、そうでありますか。
And this guy, I like this guy. I don't know. We've only known him for like 10 minutes, and I already like him. Guess it doesn't make that much sense to you, huh? Well, whatever. In any case, you take that target paper and bring it to your squad leader. Just right, I scored 0 points at 300 yards, so I tried again at 250. On your report sheet, I'll stamp it for you. Pretty sure they don't fail you outright for hitting a bullseye at 250.
ですが教員殿、それは規定違反では。
That's certainly a very admirable point of view, PFC Edward Walker. But tell me, have you ever heard this saying? In the military, it's all about knowing which corners to cut? And anyway, if your results don't improve, they're going to say I'm a lousy instructor with no leadership qualities, you know. So don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm taking pity on you here or anything.
皮肉屋だな、あんた。
Go grab the damn thing and take it to your squad leader already. If they ask why you suddenly managed to hit the target, just tell them you could see the wind or something.
ご指導ありがとうございました。このご恩はいずれ戦場で必ずお返しいたします。
Alright. Very well. Dismissed. All your results in training influence the assessment you receive at graduation. In the military, your report card can be a ticket to heaven or a ticket to hell. Accordingly, the relative performance of squads within a training company and individuals within a squad are constantly being compared on a competitive basis. Squad leaders and instructors are military men and women, but they're also human beings. They tend to get attached to students under their direct supervision. At times, that parental affection probably acts as a lubricant that keeps the gears of the military machine turning. I wasn't sure exactly what happened to Edward Walker after that. Maybe we'd be abruptly reunited in the field someday, with him as my superior officer. Smirking at the thought of calling in my debt with Sergeant Walker, I returned to my unit at Quantico in a relatively cheerful mood. So yeah, I guess it kind of was like a backstory. So we're still...
Welcome back!
Yeah, we're still on the ship. He actually spoke some English here. Nice. With my stint as an instructor at an end, I came home to an enthusiastic welcome from the lovable punk known as Daniel. Wait, is this even a ship? Yeah, this has got to be a ship. Apparently, Danny had found life tragically boring without me around. He'd spend most of his time getting into fights with Millie and enraging his superior officers. They eventually confined him to the ship, but he snuck ashore anyway, and then proceeded to tear around town in his new car, party with women, and get himself into a drunken bar fight. This incident ended with an officer having to rush over to the scene and apologize profusely to a number of local policemen. You'd think Danny would have learned his lesson, but he slipped off the boat again just a few days later, then spent a few hours driving around in a drunken stupor before getting caught by an MP who found him taking pot shots at a stop sign from the window of his car. Jesus Christ. Oh, guess that explains why they suddenly told me to come back from San Diego ASAP.
俺って男は相方のショーティがいねえと悪さばっかりするってんで急いで呼び戻したってことらしいな。
Oh, great.
笑ってんじゃないよ。バカだよね。もうほんと心底バカ。ほんまバカばっかりやってると請求書を取り上げられて出世が遅くなるよ。
Oh, and it's Millie. So the whole group is here.
あんた一人がバカやって激戦地に飛ばされるのは構わないけど、私のジーニーに迷惑かけんじゃねえよ。この黒豆野郎。
Still calling Yuuji the same ridiculous shit. Well, no big deal. It's nothing I can't handle. Anyway, Millie, I'm back.
おかえり、あなた。
Oh, God.
何があなただ。気安く女房気取りしてんじゃねえよ。
I like how he has to stick up for Yuuji.
ショーティは俺の相棒。つまり野球のバッテリーでいや、俺の女房だ。
Holy
俺の
fuck.
ショーティに色目使ってんじゃねえぞ。ゲリグソ女。
Diarrhea face? That's one I haven't heard before.
だとやんのかこら。このアホボケカス。いてまうぞこら。
Look, guys, I'm kind of tired. Think you're gonna have to excuse me.
いやジーニー相変わらず冷たいのね。でもそういうの好き。
Her two sides, both mean and nice, are just... they flip-flop too much. It's not like that with Meikyuu. It's usually just kind of like on the mean side for most of the time, and then on the nice side for at least 5% of the story. For her, it's like it really flip-flops.
このクソ豆野郎ぶっ飛ばしたらすぐに行くから。先にシャワー浴びて待っててね。
てめえどっから声出してんだよ。マジ君。
Tee my
うふじゃ
ass.
ねえ。
That's what I'm talking about, Daniel Bone.
うわくそ。うわくそ。マジでイラつく。なんだこいつ。やっべ。早く殺さねえと海軍の恥だ。
I wouldn't go that far.
港裏ボケ。
ゾー。
There really was a chance we'd be shipped off to a hellhole. A very real chance, in fact. That was the whole point of putting a bunch of dropouts and petty criminals through intensive training, after all. They expected us to take bullets for Uncle Sam. In the not-too-distant future, we'd all be dropped into the middle of a battlefield for the practical experience portion of our second-term training. At the very least, that was what I'd begun to suspect. Well, here we go. That said, the following 2 weeks passed peacefully enough. Wow. We were technically in the second half of our training period, but unless there was an operation of some sort taking place, everyone could freely invite their family to the ship on Sundays and holidays. Nice. That's pretty chill right there. A battleship is a national asset paid for entirely with taxpayer funds. Sorry about that. If the people want to take a look, it wouldn't do to completely refuse them. It wouldn't do to... Okay, whatever. Excuse me again. Except for classified areas, civilians were allowed to tour the ship. On this particular day, Danny's family was apparently coming for a visit. He'd woken up early, spent hours cleaning our living quarters, and was now pacing anxiously around the place in his neat ceremonial uniform. Every time the launch, carrying visitors and supplies, pulled up to the gangway, he'd get all fidgety, checking his hat and jacket in the mirror over and over. I even saw him snap off a few smart salutes to nobody in particular. When I asked him who was coming, he said it was his mother and his younger sister. Danny had led a fairly wild and reckless life. The police had picked him up quite a few times, and he'd ended up in the courthouse more than once. It was pretty obvious how badly he wanted to show his family that he'd come up in the world. Eventually, the intercom speakers crackled to life, and the words, "Visitors for PFC at Daniel Bone, present yourself at the gangway ASAP," echoed across the room. Before the announcement was even over, Danny had rushed out of our quarters, banging his head on the watertight door as he went. I myself didn't have any family to invite over, so off days could be more than a little awkward when I wasn't given the option to go ashore. Fending off questions about why I never had any visitors was annoying, for one thing. And when I saw my comrades proudly giving tours of the ship to their visiting families, I'd grow irritated for reasons I couldn't even understand. He was jealous, it's obvious. At times like these, I'd always head somewhere I could be alone. And there were countless places to hide on a ship as large as this one. Unfortunately, most of them tended to be on the gloomy side. And that was a problem, since I always took a paperback book with me. My master had instructed me to read books in well-lit areas, as snipers' eyes are their life. So I'd usually head for the smoking area out on the foredeck. Pausing near the top of the ramp leading out onto the deck, I reached into my pocket in search of my sunglasses and found myself face to face with Millie. Hey, Millie.
Jeannie, タバコ?
You know I don't smoke, don't you?
そうだったね。
What's wrong? You seem kind of down.
別になんでもないよ。
Oh no, she's gonna throw that sad act like, you know, if only I had a man. Well, okay then. Slipping my Mowgli sunglasses onto my head, I started to walk off onto the foredeck.
ちょっと、あ、そうって女がね、なんか真剣な顔してね。
Yes, the face I'm looking at right now is definitely serious.
どっからどう見てもなんかありそうな顔してるのに、無理してなんでもないって言ってるのに、あ、そうってひどいよ、ジーニー。
The thing is that Yuuji takes things seriously. If you say that it's nothing, he's gonna think, okay, it's legit nothing. Sorry, what? If there's something you want to say, just say it.
あのさ、ジーニーは 家族とかっている？
They're all dead.
あ、そうなんだ。じゃあ、私
Really?
と同じだね。
Really? Ah, now I get it. She was probably here for the same reason I was. I didn't exactly envy my comrades, but their questions about my family always seemed vaguely condescending. Ugh. Even though I knew they didn't mean anything by it, I'd get irritated despite myself. Since I didn't want to admit that I was childish enough to get pissed off over nothing, I ran and hid instead.
そういうことかって？
Like I said, it's the same for me. I know how you feel.
別に逃げ回ってるわけじゃないよ。ただ、なんていうか、私。
I understand. You don't have to say it. Finishing that sentence would require admitting to something she didn't really want to acknowledge. The moment it came out into the open, it would be hard to keep quiet any longer, and that would only make it hurt more. I knew that from personal experience. Rather than allowing this to continue, I opted to change the subject entirely. Why don't you go do some independent training if you're bored? Feels like I haven't seen you shooting much lately.
ああ、うん。ライフルはやめちゃった。って？
What happened to that duel in the last episode? Don't tehe me. Why'd you quit?
ジーニーに負けちゃったしね。私より上手な人間がいるなら、その人に任せるのが一番いいかなって思って。狙撃兵は2人いらないじゃん。
Man, you never know. It depends on the battle. I really don't think that's true.
あ、別にジーニーのせいでやめたってわけじゃないよ。むしろ逆っていうか、ずっとジーニーのそばにいられる仕事がしたいなって思ってさ。
So she's a stalker. Like what, a spotter?
それも考えたし、いい
Yeah.
なって思ったんだけど、どうせならジーニーができない仕事がしたいよ。なんつうか、こう、あー、俺これ苦手。そうだ、こんな時はミリーを呼ぼうって感じでさ。ジーニーは何か苦手なことってある？
Well, sure. I'm terrible at singing for one.
私に歌手になれと？いや、なんか他には？
I have a hard time eating meat, I guess.
いや、そういうんじゃなくてさ、他には？
I can't kill people.
それだ。じゃあ私が代わりに殺してあげる。ジーニーの代わりに全部殺してあげる。いっぱい殺してあげる。どう？
That could actually work out. No, it's a problem I have to overcome. I need to be able to do it myself. You can go to the bathroom in my place, but my bladder's not going to get any emptier, right?
そっか。
Well, damn it, Yuuji. How about becoming a pilot or something? They get paid well, and I hear their food's damn good too.
私みたいなバカには無理じゃない？
Well, I'm sure it isn't possible for someone who hides behind the word idiot like it's a shield. A long time ago, I used to believe I was a worthless coward who'd never be better than my sister at anything I did. But that really wasn't anything other than an excuse. It's like my master always said, don't decide you can't do something until you've tried. Don't think up excuses before you try. People have their weak points, but if you go all out, nothing's downright impossible.
すげえ師匠だね。ちょっと羨ましい。
Well, you should be. Try not to set your expectations too high. If you actually meet the woman, it's going to be one hell of a letdown.
女の人なんだ。
Yeah, and a lazy, arrogant bum to boot. She's so full of herself, it's ridiculous. When I asked if she could really do anything at all, she answered, "Who the hell do you think I am?" When you're face to face with a challenge, there's only two things you can do. Give up and run. Or work your ass off to overcome it. Giving up is easy, but it's also pathetic. Or so my master says. Struggling your way forward isn't always going to be pretty, but there's nothing shameful about it. She's the only one who taught me that. So, even if she is an arrogant jerk, she's important to me. I can't really express this very well, but I think she's amazing.
そっか。じゃあさ、もし私がパイロットになったら、ジーニー、私のこともすげえって思う？
Yeah, pretty sure I would.
マジで？じゃあ、ちっと私も本気ってやつを出してみよっかな。
There you go, kid. Trying embarrassingly hard might be a nice change of pace once in a while, right? I wasn't playing fair. On some level, I understood that. I'd pushed this girl away, but she still hadn't given up. So now I was talking to her about another woman. Trying to convince someone to give up on their own like this is the coward's way out. It's the method you use when you're afraid to hurt someone, and afraid of being hurt in return. And of course, if it actually works, you probably end up feeling a little sad, like the self-centered idiot you are. It's pretty common for life to be compared to a railway. I honestly still don't get how, like, when it gets to, like, the next section, like, the next part of the story, like, okay, in this part of the story, you know, it's going to be centered around this. It always enters, or it tends to enter with Yuuji, you know, or the narration, whatever, just kind of going into something random like this. Sometimes it's just so weird. So it's pretty common for life to be compared to a railway. In that case, I suppose people would be the trains that ride it. You move along steadily, pulling an ever-increasing load of freight behind you. Sometimes you're chugging up a steep slope. Sometimes you're gliding effortlessly downhill, gathering momentum for the next challenge. I didn't expect things would be any different going forward. For a while, we'd been on a downhill stretch, growing used to the repetitive rhythms of military life. But then, just as our confidence was beginning to grow, our second-term postings were finally decided, and our deployment and actual combat began. Although our postings had been finalized, we apparently weren't important enough to even be informed where we'd be going. From that, it was easy enough to imagine we'd be heading for a place where particularly confidential operations were underway, and judging from the rumors leaking out of the NCO room, Afghanistan seemed likely. As it loaded up with personnel, weapons, equipment, ammunition, and combat vehicles, the ship we'd be departing on sunk lower and lower into the water. The XO stood by as the cargo streamed aboard. God damn it. Adjusting the ship's trim with a calculator in his hand, watching out of the corners of our eyes, we found ourselves growing increasingly anxious about our unknown destination. This would be our first visit to an actual battlefield, our first real taste of combat. It wasn't just training anymore. Even a small mistake might cost us our lives. Even so, we tried our best to keep our nerves under control. Danny, for one, was relaxed enough to get caught pissing in the scooper by a first lieutenant. The ship we'd boarded had a crew of about 250, and it was carrying maybe 100 Marines for deployment. They told us we'd all be joining a mixed force that was being reorganized in the field. But when I looked around, my classmates Danny and Millie were the only familiar faces.
そういえばよ、俺らと同期で同じ小隊に配属される奴がもう一人この船に乗っているらしいぞ。
Is it Edward, Eddie, or whatever? Daniel Bone was a man with a habit of causing trouble anywhere he went. That said, he also had an impressive ability to turn these incidents to his advantage. He was a genuine extrovert, constantly making new buddies of all sorts under the most unexpected of circumstances. In fact, the rumor we were currently discussing had apparently come to him through the very officer who'd found him using the scooper as a urinal. Somehow or other, Danny always found the silver lining.
私らと同期って何班？名前は？
確か第3班つってたな。
So
名前は
someone-
ロバート・ウォルゾン。
Someone we don't know.
知らないな。
Well, it's not that surprising if he was in a different squad. But what kind of person is he?
俺も噂でしか聞いたことはないが、確か不死者のロビー、イモータルロビーという2つ名を持つ男だって聞いたぜ。
Ooh.
イモータルか。なんだかすごそうなやつだな。
That's what I'm saying. But wasn't Squad 3 full of white-collar types? I think they mainly put guys with good academic results in that one.
確かにそうだ。だいたい俺は喧嘩が強そうなやつには片っ端から声をかけて、時にはぶっ飛ばして回ったもんだが、同期の中にそんなすげえやつがいたとは気がつかなかったぜ。
け、弱そうなやつだけ選んで喧嘩売ってたからじゃねえのかよ。
あ、もし俺が弱そうなやつばっか選んでたのなら、真っ先におめえに喧嘩売ってんよ。バ
And they're
ーカ。
fighting again.
だとこら、
Or arguing.
行くぞこの豆野郎。
Anyway, if he's on this boat with the same destination as us, can't we just look him up on a computer?
確か同じ居住区にパソコン持ち込んでるやつがいたよな。そいつに調べてもらおうぜ。
A PC? Alright, well, we'll end it there. So 68% done. Wow, we really advanced there. Kakuna Caprice 12. I have no idea how many parts there are, but there can't be that many left. If anything, I think maybe less than 20, no more than 20, we'll say that. So no more than 20, but what do I know? So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, look forward to the next episode. And like I said last time, at the end of the last episode, we are nearing the end, and yeah, that's the end of the grand route, but there's much more that I would like to do with the Labyrinth of Grisaia and experience, so we got a long ways to go in reality. So again, thanks for watching, if I didn't already say that, and I'll see you guys next time.